Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Wherever you are, I hope you're blessed and doing safe. If you're watching on X, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching via Rumble, welcome to our platform tonight. We're getting it in. Let's talk about it. We're talking about a lot has happened. Let me turn the music down just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we've completed the first full week of the new year, and it's already getting to be the middle of January. We're talking about 12 days, ladies and gentlemen, into the new year. So time is going by real fast. If you stop and think, and a lot of us don't get a chance to stop and think and take in consideration what's important, what we need to do for ourselves, for others, for our families. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, as the new year is going through, as this month is, I won't say winding down, but we're getting right in the middle of it. And I'm excited because in a few days, payday comes. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Now, you all, you see people, I got people from YouTube, don't have anybody from X yet. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you are smashing up the likes. Smash up the likes. I know that there are some who don't get their notifications, but that's why I tell everybody to subscribe to the new channel on Rumble, Random Topics. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that right now. So, yeah, YouTube, of course, has us on a shadow ban. That is partly the reason why I don't come on, and I've explained to you all with regularity that I do. I have been dealing with some legal stuff as of right now with YouTube. Some things I won't share, but I've taken those steps. Those steps have been taken. My law degree, I didn't get my law degree just because of my good looks. I've put them to action. I've put it to use. So we're taking action against this, now pushing back because, a lot of people, especially my fellow content creators who have lost their channels as a result of just speaking their minds. We've actually become, this is how soft and sensitive we've been as a nation, where you're not allowed to speak your mind without being persecuted. This is not what our country is about. Because someone disagrees with you and you would actually censor them. But we've reached that point here in the United States. And speaking of censorship, I'll just go ahead and talk about this. Mark Zuckerberg has admitted, he admitted back in August in a letter to the Republican House Judiciary Committee that the Biden administration had put pressure on them to censor some Facebook posts about the woo-woo vax. Now, see, even me, I have to speak in code word with that. And this came out in an article from NBC News. Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he admitted that the Biden administration had pushed Meta, which is the company that owns Facebook, super hard to take down that content. And so since the victory, however, Zuckerberg had made recently, and I'm sure you saw this video, this came out like last week, Zuckerberg admitted that they were going to make moves and announcements about peeling that back regards to how they target certain content creators. So no third-party fact-checking and so forth. They're trying to limit, he said in his efforts, that they're trying to limit the censorship that they've had. Now, I'm going to show you, this is a courtesy. Now, this is the article. And the remarks came after he later said that they would stop relying on third parties, which is what they typically do. They they had set up to fact check individuals on their apps. And look, we're talking about the banning of accounts and so forth. They've also replaced members of their staff. So the president of global affairs, Nick Clegg, has been replaced, and with Joel Kaplan, who's the company's current policy vice president, and a former Republican staffer. Now, President Biden responded, and he says that the idea that a billionaire can buy something and say, by the way, from this point on, we're not going to fact check anything. And, when you have millions of people going online reading this stuff, it is, anyway, I think it's really shameful. And he expressed criticism, Zuckerberg, about the Biden administration handling of COVID-related content, where he says the administration pressured Meta to censor C-19 content, adding that he regretted some of the decisions the company made and those requests. So we have that here, and here's some of the video from the Joe Rogan podcast. Of course, I don't want a copyright strike, so I'm going to play the content over my face here so you all can hear it. So hold on, we got to turn the music off so you all can hear what he had to say. But he's admitting to what they did. So hold on.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we, but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, their emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like it was sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. We just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
So he said it was brutal. He said they would call up his company, some screaming at them, even for memes that were just in parody. And, that is protected parody. The Supreme Court, going back, it was the 2 Live Crew case. 2 Live Crew did a video, did a music song called Pretty Woman. And that was to spoof the classic Roy Orbison song, Pretty Woman, that they did. And the Supreme Court said, that was protected speech. Parody is something that is subject to fair use. That was something that was new content. You can't, as a copyright holder, sue someone for parodying your work. You're not entitled to any compensation from that. And so Zuckerberg, what Zuckerberg is saying is that the Biden administration essentially scaled back and attack them from, free speech, from allowing people to crack even jokes on it. So it's not a surprise to me. Hold on, y'all. All right. So now Zuckerberg is trying to align with Trump. They've come out and announced these changes. Meta is going through these changes that they're going to do. And I'm sorry, I had to stop for a minute. And here's the announcement that Zuckerberg made earlier this past week. So here was the bombshell announcement that was made. Hold on.
I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions, and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So
my opinion, when he's talking about gender, that's what he's talking about, how it shut out opinions. Yes, he's talking about that specifically. And this has been crazy, man. I mean, you got a 6'4" man in high heels, and you got to address him as a woman at your job. The Surgeon General of the United States is a man who is a transgender. And if you said anything negative, say anything against him, you're going to get sued. You're going to be in trouble.
I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people a voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
All right. So that's what's coming about with Facebook, the changes. So he's bowing down to Daddy Trump, Papa Trump, President Trump, because now Trump is in office. And of course, they were doing their best. The media, the national media was doing their best to try and keep Trump from winning. Now that he has won, they're trying to get in line with him. A lot of businesses, a lot of people are, because he played the game and won. Even being in his sentencing, he got sentenced, and basically on this past Friday got sentenced to nothing. So Trump is coming into office, the White House, and changes are going to be made. I mean, the FBI director, he has to step down. He's stepping down. Many people will say negative things about him now, are trying to come and to the congregation and support Trump, and stand with Trump. Even Biden and Obama. I mean, look, Obama and Biden were calling him a threat to society, a threat to democracy. Now they were all hooked up, talking to him, smiles at the Jimmy Carter. So that tells you what politics is. We were just talking about Mark Zuckerberg. Shout out to my girl Danielle. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. When we're doing that, hit that notification bell. Now, also, I got to talk about this. I am a big wrestling fan. And 20 years, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you couldn't convince me that freaking Hulk Hogan would get booed at Raw. But it happened. And I'm okay with it happening. I was a big fan as a kid, like a lot of people back in the day, because I was I'm an 80s baby. And I grew up in the 90s. And in that time, in the 80s, so I was born in 86, 87, 86. At that time, Hulk Hogan was on top of the world. I mean, he had the premiere of, he was in the Rocky movie, Rocky 3. He was doing, of course, WWF. That's what it was called at the time. He was pushed to be the main star by Vince Sr. and Vince Jr. took over and really brought wrestling in. And Hulkamania was born in January of 1984 when he beat the Iron Sheik. So if you told me that Hulk Hogan, the Hulk Hogan of 1984, 40 years later, would be getting booed, I would also tell you I had some river to sell you under the moon. I would believe for the life of me. But it happened. It was this Hulk Hogan. I gotta be careful with, I don't want a copyright strike for even sharing this, but that Hulk Hogan right there, you see the crowd, the pop Hulk Hogan used to get when he would walk into a arena. I mean, the guy was on TV, he was doing the telethons, he was doing the Tonight Show, he was doing everything, he was everywhere. And of course, we know Hulk Hogan back in 2015, he actually got kicked out of the WWF or WWE because Hulk Hogan was caught on tape calling black people or black man an N-word because he was dating his daughter. And he made it very clear, I think it was the Gawker incident, he was telling some woman he was having an affair with about how he's racist, but racist to a certain degree. And what Hulk Hogan basically was saying is that, like a lot of white people who they hang out with black folks and work with black folks, they tolerate black folks, but they don't see black people as an equal. And that's what Hulk Hogan made known. Now, several years later, I remember Booker T and a few others, I think Virgil is dead. They were trying to say, Dennis Rodman, they were all trying to say Hulk Hogan wasn't racist, despite what was on that tape. And Hulk Hogan got a second chance. They brought him back to WWE. And for a while, people forgave him. But then Hulk Hogan, a lot of stuff, sneak stuff was coming about on Hulk Hogan, how he buried other wrestlers' careers. And then when he had his beer brand, he had his beer brand called Real American Beer. And it was a black girl who supposedly was going to be the new face of the beer. And he fired her. He fired her when he found out she was black. That's what the girl said. That's what she was accused of. Essence Janae. So many people saw this and see the type of person he is. And they let his ass have it on Raw. Now Raw moved from USA. Raw was on USA Network for 30 plus years. And as of January, Raw is now on Netflix, where it's garnished big ratings. And so what happened? That's the girl. Yeah, she was fired after one day of promoting his brand. So they let his ass have it when he came out in Los Angeles. They booed him. And it was embarrassing. And you could tell when you look at the promo, Hulk Hogan was upset about it. You could tell he was taken aback. You know, that Hulkamania stuff don't work anymore. Look.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know something, maniacs? I've been in this business for over 40 years, and the greatest part of my life was being part of this great WWE, guys.
Yeah, you can just see when he's reading the crowd. Fair use, by the way. Just looking at the crowd, he's in shock that they've booed him like this. And so it went on, and I mean, they had people were trying to say that it was he wasn't booing him, that it wasn't really that many boos. They tried to do a crowd, you know. I've seen in some videos where they did crowd cheering. That sounded like it, but you could clearly hear boos. Now listen, this is someone's phone, so just listen to this. People just not cheering. Somebody wrote, hearing the entire interview, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan was so many black. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't know this. A lot of black people are some of the strongest supporters of wrestling. Everybody, black, white, whatever, likes wrestling for the most part, especially young boys, because we grew up in the 90s and 80s, especially the 90s in particular for me. WWF, remember Raw is War when they had the Monday Night Wars with WCW, Nitro, the NWO, Harlem Heat, Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, and the Four Horsemen. And I've heard stuff about Ric Flair. There have been stories about Ric Flair back in the 70s. Look up Teddy Long. And Teddy Long told stories about Ric Flair. A lot of black people would be upset at the stuff Teddy Long said about Ric Flair because we, look up to those guys. The promos that they cut are so cool. They're pop culture icons. And Hulk Hogan was one of those. Black children looked up to him because that's what's promoted. Just like James Bond, Indiana Jones, Batman, Superman, that's what we see. And so when Hulk Hogan made the remarks that he did, yeah, a lot of people were taken aback and offended by that, and understandably so. They're saddened to hear, someone who was a hero to them make such dastardly remarks about black folks. And all the while this was going on, of course, in LA, they have the wildfires that's going on. But yeah, Hulk Hogan getting booed, that was cool. And what isn't cool, of course, is the wildfires that's happening. I have family, I have friends and colleagues that live out in Los Angeles. So my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone that's affected, everybody that has property that has burned down, especially the poor people, those the middle class, the ones who have the homes in those areas that aren't going to be able to rebuild. And I want to say this, most people may not know this. This is a dick move. Did y'all know out in Los Angeles 6 months before the wildfire started, the insurance companies actually were closing down. They were actually closing and canceling everybody's insurance in that area. So within 6 months of this wildfire, they canceled the insurance policies in the area. And so a lot of conspiratorial stuff has arisen. A lot of people are putting on the thing that there will be 10 cats. They can't be called 10 cats about these wildfires and how it started. Now, it's not uncommon for California to get wildfires. Of course, being a dry area, in Los Angeles, some places where there's places there, brush fires just happen, unexplained, uncontrolled, it happens. But the timing of this all, and that area, the Palisades burning down, other areas, they've had celebrities who talked, I think Paris Hilton and Billy Crystal, Mel Gibson, their home burned down. Miles Teller, the actor, a lot of the actors, their homes that burned down. As some people, I'll be honest, they've been cold about it because a lot of people feel, well, as a celebrity, they can rebuild, they got money. Unlike people who are poor or can't afford that, they're in lesser positions. They're unable to rebuild. Now, I feel sad whether it's regardless if it's regardless if they have money or not, I don't ever wish anything like that on anybody because your home is your home. You know, of course, there's one of their homes, but there's stuff obviously that they wanted to pass down to their children. And you know, if you got it, flaunt it is the saying. And I feel a lot of people in America, especially those who can't afford, who are struggling, you know, we don't like, and I understand too, we don't like that stuff flaunted to us in our face like that. But I feel terrible, nonetheless, that this is happening. There's so much destruction, and there have been several deaths that have occurred, and several people have been blamed. People of their actions out against the governor and the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. The governor of California is Gavin Newsome, of course. And one of the people who has taken up against the governor is Mel Gibson. Now, Mel Gibson's home was caught on fire. And it happened during the Joe Rogan podcast. So he went on. I think Malibu is burning up. I think he's there. Now, I don't like Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's another reason shit who I was disappointed with. But I do agree that elected officials, especially out in California, let's just say, have not done a great job, in my opinion, from what I've heard and gathered. Now, I don't know all the facts and numbers of so forth, but I do know that out in California, the water for the fire hydrants has gone out. The pressure, you know, things have dropped. So I want y'all to listen to this. So this is Kurt. So they've had people confront the governor. So this happened.
Coverage live from Fox 11 Los Angeles.
That's the governor. Watch this.
Fair news.
Gavin Newsome? That's the governor. That's the governor. Governor, I live here, governor. That was my daughter's school, governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
California Governor Gavin Newsome is being criticised by some for water mismanagement as hydrants ran dry while fires multiplied.
I have to get self-service.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing it right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one building and another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why is there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
It's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I can do
To fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
Literally.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
Emotions running high, and understandably residents wanting answers, especially all the victims of these fires. And the fires do continue to spread, as we're mentioning.
He's going to talk to the president, which basically means he ain't doing a damn thing. Now, I can't put all this on the governor, just the governor or Mayor Bass, who I'll get to in a second. But yes, this happened last year. Now, around the time in July when they canceled the insurance in those areas, I'm reading this article. This is courtesy of AB7 out in Los Angeles. There was a rise in fire hydrants in Los Angeles. That is correct. There were thieves stealing fire hydrants.
About 100 hydrants have been stolen. Crystal Cousins lives between 2 hydrants in Florence Firestone. She says both of them were stolen on Thursday. Residents are upset.
Why are you taking them? And then for coming to find out that they're only getting about $100 off of them? So, like, okay, you're making quick money, but you're putting so many people in danger. So many people in danger.
It's sad because they don't realize the damage that they're doing, doing to people, neighbors over here.
Golden State Water Company owns these fire hydrants. The company says since 2023 to last month, about 300 of them have been stolen in the south side of LA County, from Huntington Park to Cardina. Cousin says only one fire hydrant was replaced on Monday. She says she's waiting on the other one to be replaced.
Having no fire hydrant on the street is a whole lawsuit right there if something were to go up in flames. And people do fireworks all night over here, so just one amber would have just took us all out.
It could be that thieves are stealing them for scrap metal, but as of now, no official word yet from the Sheriff's Department on why they're being stolen. The Golden State Water Company says the direct financial impact of these thefts amounts to over $1.2 million. Crews have replaced some of the stolen hydrants and added this lock to the base. The LA County Fire Department says this poses a threat to public safety.
Don't steal. Don't steal. Like, go do something more productive. Don't steal fire hydrants.
If you have information on these stolen fire hydrants, you are urged to contact the LA County Sheriff's Department.
Have you ever dreamt of getting 2 of your fave Wendy's items for?
What the fuck are they gonna do with a fire hydrant? What are they doing with that? Now, that was in 2024. Now, what a lot of people also, the mayor of Los Angeles, she's getting criticized. So I'm gonna play some of this too, this video. What happened too is the mayor is also being criticized because she ended up taking a trip to, I believe she was out in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And there were people criticizing her because she's taking a trip while she's, Los Angeles is burning. Now, I have to say, in fairness, Karen Bass, for those that remember, she was a congresswoman at one point. And part of her duties, especially when she worked in Congress, now she's obviously not a congresswoman anymore. She's the mayor of the second largest city in the United States. Apparently, this was a business. She's claiming this was a business trip. And supposedly, she was asked by the president to do this. But they got her in a New York Times article stating that she, of course, saying that she wouldn't do this again because she used to go to, she says, quote, I went to Africa. I'll show you the article before I show you the video. She was in Ghana. I'm sorry, I had the wrong country. Thank you. So she was in Ghana. So she was part of the House of Foreign Affairs Committee and has spent decades on United States-Africa relations. And she went every couple of months, all the time. She said the idea of leaving that, especially the international work and the African work, I was like, I don't think I want to do that. She ultimately decided that she did, telling the Times that if she was elected mayor, not only would I, of course, live here, but I would not travel internationally. She said the only places I would go to were DC, Sacramento, San Francisco, and New York in relation to Los Angeles. So she was in Ghana in West Africa, and she attended the inauguration of the new president. And rivals, of course, lashed out at her for this. She's also being criticized because the city had some budget cuts to the the fire department in Los Angeles. And that's what we're going to talk about with this video. Now, Los Angeles is supposed to host the Olympics in 2028. She said she made the trip at the request of the Biden administration, that she had been in constant contact with local, federal, and county officials after the fires broke out, and that she took a military flight to get back as quickly as possible. I was on the phone on the plane almost every hour of the flight, she told reporters at a news conference where she stood surrounded by emergency officials. So although I was not physically here, I was in contact with many of the individuals that are standing here throughout the entire time. When my flight landed, I immediately went to the fire zone and saw what happened in Pacific Palisades. So she's been criticized by a lot of people, especially people. Here's the thing. When you have people on the far right who see this, she should know better that this is what's going to happen, that this was going to happen. And she's getting criticized right now, and understandably so. And I see a lot of similarities what happened with happening in California to what happened with me 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years in August, September with Katrina. Hard to believe it's been that long, but this is the mayor.
Its worst wildfire in its history. And Mayor Karen Bass is facing some criticism tonight from a lot of different fronts. Earlier this year, she approved a budget-cutting $17.5 million from the fire department while increasing police funding by $12.6 million. Fire department now gets 6% of the city's budget compared to 15% for police. Critics, including former mayoral candidate Rick Caruso, questioning her leadership, especially since she was in Ghana for a presidential event, inauguration in Ghana, when the fires broke out. Sky News a reporter happened to be on that same flight coming back and clearly did not schedule an interview with her team, walked up to her, and this moment happened.
Yeah, watch this.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? And do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
News.
Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your...
Now, y'all know Sky News. If Sky News is that, that's like the Fox News of Australia. Yeah, they're really conservative. They were going in on Kamala Harris real hard during the election last year. If you listen to them and pay attention. So they've been going hard, especially on the Democrats. So they attacked... this reporter just randomly came up to Karen Bass while she was looks like she's at the at first I thought this was at the airport, but I believe they even went into the mayor's office. So she just randomly asked him this and watched what happened.
Position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
So she didn't say anything in the end, and then tried to walk away, and the guy kept asking her questions, and my guess is he's not getting a Christmas
plane. Yeah, I thought this was the airport, but I think they brought her to an office back there later on where the guy tried to get in and couldn't.
Card this year, but that was some tough questioning there from a Sky News reporter who's actually from Ireland, who was flying in here to cover this incident. Mayor Bass did do a press conference tonight. We invited her to come on and do an interview. She hasn't accepted that. She did do a press conference to share her side of the story, and she talked about some of the water tanks from Pacific Palisades, which were not filled up in the moment when a lot of people needed them. Take a listen.
This is going to be an effort of all of us coming together, and we have to resist any effort to pull us apart. In terms of my flight home, I was on a military flight, as I mentioned, which allowed me to be in constant communication. I was on the phone, on the plane, almost every hour of the flight. So although I was not physically here, I was in contact with many of the individuals that are standing here throughout the entire time. When my flight landed, immediately went to the fire zone and saw what happened in Pacific Palisades. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Supervisor, and let me assure you that you will have a full partner in the city of Los Angeles. Yesterday, I was at the Hearst Command Post in Sylmar, and it was an example.
So that's a press conference there. So she gets mad. So she gets criticized for this. Now, you're a black woman. Even so, I was reading, and Willie D, of course, Willie D was going ham for. He's been, he was. I saw the clip. He was going in on us saying she's getting this because she's black. I gotta say this stuff, especially with the identity politics, because I'm starting to see that, and I'm as pro-black as they come. We can't always just use that, and I'm gonna say it. We can't always use race as an excuse for this. For gross incompetence, you're the mayor of a city or you're a governor of a city, if you're a woman or so forth. If you cut budgets, if you cut the budget, you know what, California has a wildfire problem, and you're cutting the budgets for your fire department, you cut the budgets as the governor. As far as funding is concerned, you have the insurance companies that are canceling policies in these areas where the where the fire, everybody knows where the wildfire is spreading. They're canceled their insurance policies, so it makes it harder for people to rebuild. Now the commissioner of California is stating they're not going to tolerate that, but they're not going to stand for this. But that was made last year, so they canceled these insurance policies. But it's gross incompetence. There's a reason why a lot of people. I'm grateful I never moved to California like I wanted to. Thank God. And that's not a shot at anybody that lives in California. That's not why I'm saying that. But Louisiana's got some corrupt politicians. But this shit is a whole nother thing. California is a bigger state. The homeless, especially in Los Angeles, the homeless problem they have. Inflation, everything is expensive. That's bullshit.
These wildfires could be one of the most expensive natural disasters in U.S. history. The state facing an insurance crisis that has already left thousands of Californians struggling to find and keep affordable homeowners insurance. ABC's Christian Cordero in Pacific Palisades.
Tonight, many homeowners affected by the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles taking their first step toward rebuilding their lives, filing an insurance claim.
I'm so sorry.
But as too many Americans know, getting compensated can be difficult. And in California, the system is facing a crisis years in the making. Insurance premiums soared after the Camp Fire in Northern California's Butte County in 2018, at the time the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in the state's history. Several major carriers have since restricted fire coverage or stopped writing new property insurance policies in California entirely. State Farm, California's largest provider of homeowners insurance, announcing in 2023 it would stop accepting new applications from California residents, citing, among other things, rapidly growing catastrophe exposure. With insurers pulling back, thousands of California homeowners have been left without coverage.
These insurance flood. Yeah, they did that with us. They did that after Katrina with us because State Farm was no longer. I know in my area with my folks, they weren't covering that zip code with flood insurance anymore because of after Katrina. Another thing these insurance companies were doing is that even if you had flood insurance, how they would try and cheat people out of money in their and getting their settlement check, their insurance check, they would try and say, well, you had only 4 feet of water, but the damage really that happened in your home wasn't from the flood, it's mold. And all of the mold is up to the ceiling. So we can't cover you this, or we'll just give you $20,000 for this. Now, that was something that happened. That actually happened to my family. Now, my father challenged that, of course. Now, I'm giving an example. I'm not saying the amount because I don't want y'all to think I got a check like that. I don't. But once that happened, many people were not able to rebuild and recoup. Some people couldn't afford to. Some people moved back, or it took years for them to rebuild. And they were trying to get a hold, don't get me wrong, they were trying to get a hold of this property. They're still trying to get a hold of the property, especially that area in New Orleans, East and the Lower Ninth Ward, that's valuable real estate. Just like I'm assuming out in California with the Palisades and Malibu and other areas in Los Angeles that are burning down. There was a historically black township in California, and I believe it was called Altadena. That, yeah, caught fire. So yeah, I'm praying for those. So that area is what, you know, those areas eventually are going to be worth a lot of money. So I'm gonna go back and play the video. Hold on.
People decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance.
The California Insurance Commissioner issuing a one-year moratorium to protect homeowners.
I'm also calling on insurance companies to suspend any pending non-renewals and cancellations that homeowners received before these fires started.
This problem isn't unique to California. An investigation by the Senate Budget Committee finding that climate change-driven extreme weather events are leading to increasing non-renewal rates and spiking premiums across the country, particularly in Florida, Louisiana, and North Carolina. The report suggesting the insurance crisis could lead to a housing one, with echoes of 2008. Saying this is predicted to cascade into plunging property values in communities where insurance becomes impossible to find or prohibitively expensive. Climate change is no longer just an environmental problem, it's a looming economic threat.
Wait, a spokesperson for California's FAIR Plan, the state's private stopgap fire insurance program, says they are aware of misinformation spreading online about their ability to pay claims. But they want to reassure homeowners that they have prepared for disasters like this and intend to keep their commitments.
Christian Cordero, thank you.
Don't believe that shit. Insurance companies, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured out, are gangsters. They are gangsters. They're the ones that dictate stuff. Yeah, only, you know, and they're doing this to these people's homes. Yeah, these are gangsters. These are the real crooks. On insurance companies. The fact that you could get away with something, you have people paying money for you to protect their property in case something happens, and you do your damnedest to try and keep them from getting it, and then canceling that. That's terrible. So let me put my music back on. Well, I agree. It's probably the only time I agree with a woman like Tina knows. But yeah, definitely don't sell your property. They would do it, you know, of course. I'd encourage them not to sell your property. But, you know, it's so hard, Danielle, because, you know, the cost of living, and you know this, is expensive. So if you don't have money, you don't have insurance or anything, you're screwed. Now, he placed a moratorium, so that's to allow the residents to get their monies while this is going on, and it's a shame that this is happening during the new year. But yeah, I'm praying for y'all at Los Angeles. I really am, because I went out to LA last year in 2023 actually, and I enjoyed my stay there. I have family and friends, so I don't wish that on anybody. So my thoughts and prayers are with y'all. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to look and see if there are some black charitable organizations, especially that are doing something, especially out there in Los Angeles. If we're going to donate clothes, money, or food to people that need it, let's do that. I definitely will put that on here. Make sure you all are smashing up the likes. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm actually going through some stuff, as I stated, with YouTube. Some legal things. So there are some stuff. There's a reason why I don't come on with regularity, and that's the reason why. But I have taken some matters into my own hands right now. And yeah, with my channel, of course, I want everybody to make sure you go to Rumble. and go to the random topics page and subscribe, because I've started to move the channel, my content onto Rumble now. Of course, it still come on YouTube with this. I simulcast the stream because I know there are people who follow me on YouTube that have not yet joined the Rumble channel. So that's why I do it. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, Mel Gibson. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, I don't even want to put. You know what? I don't want to put Mel Gibson on here. Fuck it. I was gonna look at the video on Joe Rogan. So yeah, he had stuff to say about him. He said the governor needs to focus less on hair gel and more on the wild. But anyway, so of course our main thing for today, I thought we'd be a little bit lighthearted. Enjoy the world. Now, I'm not gonna come down. I'm trying not to come too hard, pun intended, on Joy Taylor. No, I'm not trying to come too hard. Ooh. I gotta ease up on that one on Joy Taylor, because Joy Taylor has been in the news lately. I talked about it briefly last week, because the lawsuit that was filed against by the hairstylist Faraji, Miss Nosheen Faraji. So she filed this lawsuit against Skip Bayless. This is her picture here. It's against Skip Bayless, but when you look at the lawsuit and read it in its entirety, it's against Fox Sports, because of course Fox Sports 1, which is the network she worked on, they have the most money. Now of course I don't know what's true or false. These are allegations, a lawsuit. Now that's Nosheen. That's Skip. That's Skip's face. That's Skip Bayless right there. I'm sure he's looking at her wondering, I think I'd pay 1.5 for that. I might even do 2, but I'm going to come down. That's Joy. Everybody knows Joy. That's the office Skip, because I got to get my restitution, Skip. Now, most people, I don't think, follow Fox Sports 1, except, well, I shouldn't say most. A lot of us, especially sports heads who watch sports, are like men. Of course, I think we follow and watch sports more than even females. So we are familiar with some of the people, or a good number of the people who are there. Skip Bayless, of course, has been around for a long time. Somebody I never really liked, because Skip always seemed to be a hater. Skip was always a hater. He would come down hard on a lot of black athletes in particular. Like I remember when he called Chris Bosh Spice, and he confronted him on his show. I remember him especially going out against Terrell Suggs and the Baltimore Ravens, and Terrell Suggs even called him a douchebag on live TV. A lot of people come at Skip because he said a lot of stuff. Years ago, back in the 90s, he made an allegation about Troy Aikman being homosexual. And Deion Sanders even checked him for that. Deion Sanders, a lot of people don't know, in the 90s when he signed up with the Dallas Cowboys. He had his own talk show on local show. And Skip Bayless wrote a book about the Cowboys. And he made that allegation, and Dion confronted him. I'm going to see if I can get that clip. That was back in the 90s. There's an old clip. So yeah, this is it. It's an 8-minute clip. Hold on. Now look at, first off, Coach Prime had that Caesar rocking. I remember hair like this. I remember I had this. Don't exist anymore. Bringing back memories. But anyway, Coach Prime goes in. So watch this. Hold on.
Get off stating that one of my teammates is a homosexual. Where are your facts?
And Skip Bayless. Now, my memory is kind of hazy to even remember the show, but after a little bit of research, it appears this was a show with Pam and Dion called Call It Like It Is. And this particular
now that's
episode...
Pam Oliver. Back then, she only had one wig. She was consistent, and it wasn't shifting every day. So she wasn't she wasn't working the sideline, so the shit wasn't shifting when Pam Oliver was there. Now she's walking around like Chewbacca cousin. She's Wookieed out. So yeah. Now Troy Aikman, yeah, he was the quarterback for the Cowboys when they won the Super Bowl. Y'all know Troy Aikman was an announcer for Fox during this time when they did Undisputed. So he was Troy was the color analyst with Joe Buck. Now he's with ESPN doing Monday Night Football.
And I think this is one of the reasons why Troy detests Skip, even when they work at the same network. Things were so contentious that Aikman even tried to block FS1's hiring of Skip Bayless back in 2016 when he left ESPN. Anyways, the main issue the Cowboys QB had with Skip Bayless was what he wrote about him in his book. And if I'm going to be honest, I think Skip clearly crossed the line here. Yeah, I know times were different back then, but this was still pretty out of bounds, even for me. So Skip, in his book titled Hellbent, talked about the feud between Troy Aikman and his head coach, Barry Switzer, and then even hinted at the fact that the Dallas quarterback perhaps might be gay, which has been refuted. Anyways, this was the interview between Skip Bayless, Deion Sanders, and Pam Oliver that has been blowing up on social media.
Now, I never knew this until like last year. And well, last year or the year before that, remember when Skip Bayless got in trouble about the DeMar Hamlin situation, the player from the Buffalo Bills who had the heart attack on the field, or he went into cardiac arrest rather. And Skip tweeted that about the game going on, and a lot of people came at Skip. Shannon Sharp didn't even show up for work. And when Shannon Sharp came back the next day, he thought, that's when him and Tease blew up on Skip.
Yeah.
Where do you get off stating that one of my teammates is a homosexual? Where are your facts? Do you know how detrimental that is to a guy
I don't state that at all. This book is about a very troubled, paranoia-plagued relationship, or lack thereof, between your quarterback, Troy Aikman, and Barry Switzer that disintegrated over a 2-year period to where they didn't even speak the last couple of months of last season. And one side, the Switzer side, as I call him, the Switzer camp, John Blake, a buddy of yours, obviously very well, Danny Bradley, Dean Blevins, who supported Switzer within the organization, believed that Troy wanted them gone. And I believe that Troy wanted them gone. He's not a Switzer fan. I talked at length to Troy.
Now, wait a second. About the homosexual part.
When it got so dark, as you recall, in early December, the final grenade lob from camp to camp was that, the old rumor, it's 5 years old here in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm sure a lot of people had heard it before, that Troy is gay. Now, I've talked to Troy about it.
I have never heard that. This is a man. I'm not gay, but Troy is a good-looking guy.
He is a good-looking guy. I agree.
And
I'm
sure
he can get any woman he wants. He says he is absolutely not gay.
Do you know what
yes, I know exactly what it is.
Will do to a guy like Troy Aikman, whose endorsement potential is unbelievable?
Troy says that he's gotten a lot of mail about this over the last 4 or 5 years, and he took the opportunity in this book to just completely shoot a hole in it. We're talking about 5 pages out of 300, and when you get to it, you'll just shake your head, and it'll be a pretty ho-hum part of this feud that's going on between them. You will put no credibility in it, no credence.
Skip.
And Troy took the opportunity to put
Journalism
it to bed.
101. Journalism 101.
Right.
You do not print rumors. A rumor is just that. It's a rumor.
We're getting completely off the subject of the book. I mean, this is such a tiny part.
What about this, Skip? How Troy, Barry, Jerry, and Dion, and Emmett, and Michael won it all in spite of themselves? What kind of statement is that?
You tell me what you think of this quote from Troy Aikman. He told me on February 15th, 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, that from what he knows about what went on inside your team, what you accomplished as a team was the greatest achievement in sports history. Now, you are...
Nah, that was back in the 90s. I don't want to play the whole video, but that was Skip Bayless. And so Skip, I'm going to be turning into sad and sharp every now and then when I say Skip. I'm sorry. So what I was going at, so Skip is named in this lawsuit. So we're focusing now. A lot of people now, of course, Joy Taylor's mentioned as well. Charlie Dixon. So this is the lawsuit. Now I talked about some of it last for Sunday. When you read the lawsuit, most of it is about Joy Taylor. And what I talked about in the description of the video about the simps and defenders coming out for Joy. Now, as I said, I wasn't going to go hard on Miss Taylor because, number one, I wasn't there. I don't know how true some of the stuff is. However, what I can say is that the accusation, and a lot of people are relying on what is being said as the lawsuit is true. The accusations are by the hairstylist. Now, the hairstylist, of course, one person you don't want to piss off if you work in Hollywood is a hairstylist because they got all the secrets. They're also underpaid. They deal with all the celebrities. So when the celebrities are there, they're dealing with a lot of shit. They see a lot of shit. So she names Joy Taylor. She names Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, several unknown employees as those, the Fox Corporation and Fox Sports Holding, Fox Sports Productions, LLC. Now, what does this remind y'all of, ladies and gentlemen? This is similar to the lawsuit, our lawsuits I've mentioned with Diddy. Remember, they don't just sue Diddy and they sued Bad Boy. They sued the record company. They sued the production company because Fox Sports, Fox Corporation, that's where your money is. And Fox Corporation, of course, is the parent company of these other Fox affiliates like Fox Sports and Fox Sports Holding and Fox News and so forth. Now, believe it or not, 20th Century Fox, of course, is run by Disney now. So there's a difference. I believe there's a difference with the 20th Century Fox. Oh, they work in unison, but Disney is not, of course, mentioned in this. So I think it's a separate, and those are separate entities. So these are her claims. So she's saying class action complaint for minimum wages, overtime wages being missed or failure to pay all wages upon separation, furnish accurate and itemized wage settlements, unfair, unlawful, fraudulent business practices, sexual battery, a hostile work environment, both race and gender, disability, failure to prevent harassment, retaliation, wrongful termination, failure to prevent harassment, hostile work environment to disability, and negligent supervision, hiring, and retention. And they want a jury trial. So when I read this lawsuit, now it's 42 pages, Joy Taylor is the one that's talked about the most. It's the most salacious. Now she mentions Charlie Dixon. She mentions Emmanuel Ocho. She mentions Skip. Skip is the other one. And they're saying, especially if you listen to Stephen A. Smith, he had on this one female reporter, went on defending Joy. Cam Newton went on defending her. Dave Portnoy and a couple others. Now, of course, one of the people they were defending them against was Jason Whitlock, because Jason Whitlock had been talking shit. He's talking like he had an actual chance with her. The black Vito Spatafora from The Sopranos. Remember when Vito was saying that he had a shot with Chrissy's fiance, Adriana? I try to stay away from her big cans and that peanut butter skin. And Cam Newton was going in on him. And some others. But a lot of people, so Stephen A. Smith and some others felt Joy was getting a bad, and others felt Joy Taylor was getting a bad rap. That she is getting in trouble, she's getting blamed wrongfully, and some think it's because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. Now, Tori Krupa is the other female. Now, I've listened to Joy Taylor. I know who Joy Taylor was because she's the sister of Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor, of course, is the Hall of Fame defensive end for the Miami Dolphins. And I knew her when she came on to Fox Sports being a mediator. Because let's be real, we got to be honest. They put a lot of these females on here for one reason and one reason only, and they know it. It's not because of it's not their beauty, it's their booty. And by that I mean it's sex appeal. Really, literally greasing the union. Everything sex sells is the old saying. The TV shows back in the day in the 70s, shows like Charlie's Angels, Three's Company, they were number one in the country for a reason. Men were attracted to, or always have been, attracted to fine, good-looking women, to attractive women. And Joy Taylor, let's not go lie, she is a beautiful woman. She is a gorgeous woman. For those that have seen Joy, now, ever since the allegations have come out, she's been relatively quiet, but she was accused in a lawsuit. Now, of course, it looks like it's very salacious. It is. The lawsuit's very salacious. It looks like she used it to throw her under the bus because she alleged Joy didn't help her when Charlie Dixon grabbed her buns and told her to man up, or vice versa along lines, get over it, allegedly. But what they ignore when I look at this, now you can look on from what Stephen A. Smith said, not just Stephen A. Smith. And this is another thing why Stephen A. Smith, a lot of people falling out with him, is because he does this back and forth, especially when it comes to politics. He'll say, I didn't vote for Trump, I didn't like this, but you criticize the Democrats as well. Oh, I went and voted for Kamala.
That's where I'm coming from.
Excuse me. And they had 1.9 thousand likes to 115 dislikes. And when you listen to the video, now I don't want to get a copyright strike, but y'all can listen to the video of Stephen A. Smith. One thing they don't address in the video, when they're trying to defend Joy Taylor, they make it look like it's because she's being discriminated because she's a woman. They don't talk about the allegation that she allegedly was going to lie on the man she was sleeping with. And I say allegedly because I don't know if she was sleeping with Charlie Dixon or not, whether she had an affair. She was married and got quickly divorced. My understanding, there was allegations of an affair, but there was nothing that has been confirmed as far as I've seen. Yeah, they have all of those beautiful women on these sports networks. Look at ESPN, got the same thing with Molly Curran. Molly Curran was married to Jalen Rose. And Molly Curran was the one who got LeVar Ball kicked off ESPN, banned, because she talked about switching gears, and he said, you can switch gears with me anytime. And somehow or another, she interpreted that. ESPN and Stephen A. Smith didn't even stand up for the man. They interpreted that as to be sexual. And it wasn't. Switch gears means switch gears. Let's talk about something else. And if you go on the page when Stephen A. is talking to Tori Cooper, now I think what they did, because this one is a little bit older than the other video I shared with you, what they did is they added a 9-minute clip, and then this was 18-minute segment. You notice there's 1,080 likes to 1,553 dislikes. And people were saying, dude brought on his own Joy Taylor to speak on Joy Taylor. Believe all women unless they're accusing women. Got it. No one is talking about how Joy was going to falsely accuse a man of forcing himself on her. That's the worst part. Yes, that is evil. If that is true, and I don't know if it's true. Now, I think this was funny. He had Stephen A. Smith. Jason Whitlock had Stephen A. Smith in the thumbnail as a cowardly lion. And yeah, it's a scandalous claim because what she's accused of, allegedly to sleep outside of sleeping her way to the top, supposedly sleeping with two men, Charlie Dixon and Emmanuel Ocho, allegedly. The hairstylist said she assumed she was sleeping with Emmanuel Ocho. The way that the lawsuit is written is very salacious. She doesn't know that for a fact, unless she's told her that, and I wasn't privy to the conversation. Nobody was. But anytime you say that, it is salacious. But the severe thing is supposedly she was going to Me Too somebody knowing it was false. That's wicked, if that is true. Sleeping around is one thing, and sleeping with a married man is one thing. People do what they want, but to lie and say that you're going to set someone up so you can advance your career, if that's true, and I'm just saying, if that is proven to be true, that's a whore. That's evil. If you were going to lie, that's wicked. And this is pending all of it being truthful, because you got to keep in mind with this lawsuit, Fox is going to be forced, their employees are going to be forced to do depositions. They're going to be forced to answer interrogatories, and they're going to have to testify truthfully under penalty of perjury to any questions that the opposing attorney will ask. They're going to have to answer this stuff.
That I have to get into today, and I'm definitely going to get into it, but we all know where we got to get brought up about Joy Taylor. And as you've watched all of this unfold, I know you, like myself, we've read the 42-page, allegations, ripened allegations against Joy Taylor, against Charlie Dixon, against Skip Bayless, specifically pertaining to Joy Taylor. I want to know what your thoughts are about all the heat that she's been taking over the last few days.
Why is such a focus on Joy Taylor? First of all, she's not being accused of sexual battery. She's not being accused of sexual harassment. She's being accused of engaging in sexual behavior to earn her spot that she has on Fox Sports.
Hold on, y'all. I was talking to y'all, and I had some issues with the internet. So this is the lawsuit. What I was showing was this is more of the video. So y'all didn't hear what I was saying because I had it on mute when I was playing the video. But what I was stating was Tori Cooper, they ignored the part where they alleged Miss Taylor was allegedly accused of about to Me Too her own boss, who she allegedly was having a secret relationship with.
Now, the problem I have with this, Stephen, is this continues to be the issue in this industry. Is when a man gets there, in any industry really, when a man gets there, he earned it. When a woman gets there, she slept her way to the top somehow. And so that's issue number one. Issue number two is that we're just going to completely negate her experience and the fact that she is more than qualified to be in this role. And if you just read this lawsuit at face value, and this is my problem with these lawsuits, is people just take it as fact. These are allegations at the end of the day. And when you look at this lawsuit and you comb through it at face value, they paint her as a bartender who had little experience, who was a radio experience in radio and was not qualified for Fox Sports, and she was working as a fill-in anchor and a bartender at the same time. I worked 2 jobs to get into this industry. I worked behind the scenes first. So we don't earn these spots lightly. And that's where I get really frustrated with people on social media who are trying to come for this woman's experience and credibility to be considered for this role. So let's just go back into the history really quick into her experience.
Let's stop there for a second. So let's look at, you said, let's look at her history. You're saying they're coming at her, trying to say she slept her way to the top. Stephen A is letting her get away with this, and she's being disingenuous. First of all, nobody is attacking Joy because she slept with the boss. That's not what I believe. Or she was sleeping around. People sleep around all the time. Men don't sleep their way to the top. Men have to work. I'm being honest. Men don't traditionally, we don't sleep our way to the top to get a position. Joy allegedly, Miss Taylor allegedly slept her way to the top with the vice president of Fox Sports, and who got his position, got her in a position there against the wishes of Skip Bayless because this was his boo. Now, I'm not mad. Now, I'm not complaining so much about that part, but I am. What many people I think are complaining is the allegation that she was going to, if she did not get certain things while she was at Fox Sports and having an affair with Emmanuel Ocho and Charlie Dixon at the same time, she was going to falsely accuse a man of rape, of sexual harassment. That is the part that is wicked. That is the part that a lot of people are pushing back on, because to falsely accuse someone of sexual assault is wrong if it is true.
We want to talk about it. She worked behind the scenes as an executive producer. That's someone who writes the shows for the people you see with the mic. One. Then she worked her way into a slot to be a co-host on that show, on that radio show in Miami. Then on top of that, she took the show to number 1. She took the show to number 1.
She had
and
a
then
show on Miami.
After that,
number 1.
then she makes her way to California, is essentially doing what it appears to be freelancing, and it's filling in and working to get that spot. And eventually she gets called on. Many people right now, Stephen A would say, I'm not even qualified to sit next to you. But it's not always about experience. If it was about experience in this industry, then so many people wouldn't even have the spots they have. It's about a lot of other intangibles.
Yes, big cans. Listen, Joy Taylor got on Undisputed. She's about a year younger than me. So Joy Taylor got on Undisputed. If that was in 2016, Joy Taylor was about 28, 29 years old. So that's fairly young. Now she's the moderator on the show. And, you go on her Instagram page, you look her up. She's very flaunting her outfits. She's dressed very scantily. She's a voluptuous woman. The girls are out. Let's just put it that way. She's voluptuous. She's attractive. Y'all don't think Fox Sports 1 was just so, you think Fox Sports 1 was solely thinking about a show in Miami, how that was number 1, and we're going to put her on television as a moderator? Y'all don't think her looks played any role? You don't think looks play any role into this? And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having an attractive woman on television, but she's she's an attractive woman. I actually, I like her. I liked her. I thought her and Taylor Rocks were her Taylor Rocks are fine. Taylor Rocks, especially that other girl, Demetria Obilar, she's the weather girl. She was a traffic girl in Dallas. Demetria Obilar, oh my God. I did like Molly Querum at one point. Not in saying even after the lawsuit's been filed, Joy, I get them all confused. Joy had the girls covered up the other day. Came out without
showing the shins off.
That's Joy there. And supposedly, I can't believe she found, if it's true, she's messing with the butler, Emmanuel Ocho, the butler. But I digress. Love is love. Who am I to judge? Says the Pope. So people have been lighting them up. I saw AB, Antonio Brown was going in. Now, they got pictures of Joy all over there. Yes, she wears bikinis and her top is out. And that was a big, I don't want to comment. Now, she posts stuff like that. She has on her IG. So she's attractive. We're not cool. And the main thing, though, I remember with Joy Taylor, when she made this comment, with Taylor Rocks.
We just keep it a buck. If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards. We just keep it a buck.
Now, she said that, and ever since she said that, that has made many people.
Can we just keep it?
They're just different now buck. When you read that lawsuit.
If they're fine enough,
when you
if
read
they're
the
funny
lawsuit,
enough,
you hear that.
Or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person. Can we just keep it above?
Yeah, shout out. I'll just one shout out to YouTube because ever since the scandal broke my algorithm, the videos just been popping up half been with Joy Taylor. And I'm seeing that. All right, Danielle said she had to leave. Shout out to her, but yeah, the innuendo and jokes, yeah, they do that all the time, and they always do the innuendo and stuff with them. But what say y'all, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think of this lawsuit? So anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up. We're talking about the Joy Taylor scandal, joy to the world. Yeah, I have some. I'm gonna post the lawsuit on here, but FS1, and I'm waiting to see. I'm sure they're lawyered up. They're gonna probably get an attorney for Joy Taylor because Joy Taylor, here's another thing. She's accused also of being an agent for Fox Sports. So it's not just her sleeping around. It's the fact that if she's an employee there, she's also the employee of the alleged lover of a high-ranking Fox Sports executive. If that incident occurred where her friend, who she said was her friend at one time, was harassed by an executive, and she went and confronted her about it or told her about it, and Joy allegedly would say something to the effect, get over it, not report it or anything like that. Well, then that can open up what the negligent supervising. Now, Joy, of course, is not the supervisor, but if she's acting as an agent or employee of Fox, that's why she's named in a lawsuit. And I've had lawsuits filed where I've sued an organization and the principals or the teachers have been involved in a lawsuit. Now, of course, if I'm suing someone like that, I'm not suing the principal and teacher to get my money back. No, I'm also going to sue the insurance company. I'm suing the school because that's where the money is. That's who pays this off. So I understand why they filed this. But anyway, we're going to wrap this thing up, ladies and gentlemen. I've been on a little bit longer than I should. But what say y'all? Yeah, but the Simpson people, the Simps have come out defending this stuff. I'm glad that there are a lot of men who are pushing back on this stuff. Now, of course, as an attorney, I'm waiting to hear more from the facts. I'd like to hear what Joy Taylor or what Fox would have to say. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be a hell of a lawsuit. A time, what happens when it goes to depositions, or if it gets to that point, because maybe they might settle. I hope they don't, because I like to know more of the facts about what happened. But anyway, y'all, we're going to wrap this thing up. Shout out to my man, Dean of New Orleans, too. We had a great show. I did a show of his this past Thursday, so that was fun to do. No, Friday, we did a show honoring at Peaches Records, so that was cool. I did it with him and a few others, so we had a good time. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.